Hi, welcome to Craft Little Things. I'm Andrea. You might have seen yesterday, I think it was, I shared this box which has got a magnetic closure and which holds quite a lot of the embellishment boxes from Stampin' Up. And then I'm going to make one of these, which is the Tombow station. It holds 2 Tombows. They are being suspended there, so you've got them the right way up, and it's got this little optional extra to pop your bone folders in if you wanted to. That can either be around the back or around the front, it's up to you, it doesn't matter, whichever. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this now. Okay, here we go. This is what we need to make this, and I've done my cutting and my scoring, so I'm going to talk you through all of that. Okay, so first of all, you need a piece of cardstock that measures 8 by 7.5 inches, which is 20.3 centimetres. Let me just move my board up a little bit, my tea is in the way, which is 20.3 centimetres by 19 centimetres. And I'll do the measurements first and then I'll do the scoring, because that's usually the way people go about it. Then you need a piece of cardstock which measures 4 by 3.5. This is if you want to put the little bone folder holder on the front that you've just seen. So that's 4 inches by 3.5 inches. So that's 10.2 centimetres by 8.9 centimetres. Then for the lid, you need a piece that measures 5 by 3.5 inches, so that's 12.7 centimetres by 8.9 centimetres. And then you need that little bit of reinforcement for the lid, which is 4 by 2.5 centimetres. Okay, so that's 4 by 2.5 inches, which is 10.2 by 6.4 centimetres. That's right. Okay, and now where you want to score those, then we'll go back to the first one, is you want to score that at 2 inches and 6 inches on both sides. So that's 5 centimetres and 15.2 centimetres, and then turn and do it the same on the other side. For your little holder piece, if you're going to have a holder piece, you want to score it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, 3 inches and 3.5 inches on the longer side, and then on the shorter side you want to score it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. So that's just 1/2 inch is 1.3 centimetres and 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres, and then your 3 inch and your 3.5 inch is 7.6 centimetres and 8.9 centimetres. And then for your lid piece then, or the top piece, you're scoring at 1/2 inch all the way around. So you're scoring at 1.3 centimetres, turning it and scoring at 1.3 centimetres all the way around. Now on this piece, this backup piece if you like, you can mark your score lines. Your punch lines. What I've done is I've drawn around pieces that I'd cut out previously, but what you really want to be doing is you want to be measuring 1 inch across and then 1.5 inches up, and you want to just be drawing a line to join those two, and that's where the centre of your punch needs to go. So 1 inch across and 1 inch and a quarter, 1 inch across and 1.25 inches up. So that's draw a line at 2.5 centimetres and draw a line at 3.2 centimetres horizontally, and where they cross, that's where the middle of your circle wants to be. And you do the same on the other side. I mean, if you want to do it the other way around, then you're going to be drawing a line up at 3 and across at 1.25, and where that joins, that's where your hole wants to be. And then what we'll be doing is we'll be gluing that onto the back of that, and so you'll be able to punch through, so you're not going to see anything from once it's assembled, you're not going to see any of your drawing. So whichever way you choose to do it, whether you choose, we're going to use the scallops, the 1 3/8 scallop punch. So whichever way you choose to do it, whether you want to punch a couple out and lay them on and draw around them, or if you just want to do the measuring, that's up to you. It doesn't, I mean, if you're just going to use it in your own office, it doesn't really matter if it's not absolutely perfect. Now, for the two ends then, you need some DSP, and I've been working with scraps, so I've just sort of made measurements that are okay and suit me. They're not ideal. So that's 2 1/8 by 1 5/8. So there's two of those pieces. So that's a 5.3 centimetres by 4.1 centimetres. And then I've got two panels. This is for the top and for the back. And these measure 3 5/8 by 2 1/8. So that's 9.2 centimetres by 5.3 centimetres. And then these two panels are for the front of the actual holder itself and the front of the bone folder holder if you're going to use one. If you're not going to use a bone folder holder, then you need another one of these pieces. So this is 3 1/8 by 1 3/4. So that's 9.1 centimetres. No, 7.9 centimetres. Just a minute, sorry. 2 1/8, wasn't it? 5.3 centimetres by 4.5 centimetres. Okay, and there for that front piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble the top because I want it to dry. So I'm just going to cut up the corners. I'm going to cut up the corners on each side, and then I'm going to cut that square on the end. That little square needs to come off, but I'm just going to sort of notch it in when I cut it off. So I'll end up with 4 notched in flaps. Okay, I mean, as long as you cut your corners off, that's all that matters. It doesn't, and you end up with some notched in flaps. It doesn't matter about how you do it. You don't have to do it exactly the same as me. I seem to have developed a cold. Probably the changing weather that's done it. Isn't it crazy? The other day I was desperately trying to shelter from the sun, and today sheltering from the rain. So that's that then. Now this is going to be glued onto there, and this is what I said, I want this to sort of dry before I attach it to the rest of the box. So this is just to reinforce it. This is just so that it doesn't fall through with the weight of the Tombow, that's all. And the punch will go through. It is a little bit of a squeeze, but get that really lined up perfectly with those score lines so that it fits nice and snug. Okay. And now what you can do, you can add your cover piece now if you want, or you can add it after you've punched your holes. I'm going to add mine now because I do want it all to come through. You know, I don't want to have to be trying to line things up or anything. Okay. And you can get through your whole punch. You do have to just fold your flap down to get to where you want to be. And it is a little bit of a a push because it's quite a thickness you've got going on there. And so where those lines join is where I want the centre of my punch really. But like I said, it's not, you know, unless you're gifting it to somebody, it's not that massive a deal. So I'm going to have to apply some pressure. It's not that massive a deal if you yeah, it's not that massive a deal if you aren't perfect, because it's just for your own use in your office. So just pop. As long as they're not overlapping each other, that's the most important thing. Because you don't want that. I think I've done okay. I think they're pretty much... You will take a notch out of here. Don't worry about that. Okay. So then you get your bone folder. Do you see, this is why I need do you know, I'd lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. So then just get your bone folder and just burnish those score lines down towards the underside, okay? And give them a really nice strong burnish, because you want to get them over the edge of that extra piece of cardstock. Okay? And then this will just make it really nice and sturdy. I suppose I was a little bit far away there, and that one's a little bit further forward. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're not exactly right. It doesn't matter. If you're really worried about not getting them exactly right and being bothered about it, make them exactly wrong. That's why I say put one up here and one down there on purpose. Okay, so that can just be left to one side for now. Now we're going to make the little box for the front to hold bone folders. If you don't want to make this box, don't make it. You don't need it to add it if you don't want to. I just find it useful to have something on front of my Tombow just to hold the bone folder. Now what we're going to do, if you see, we've got 4 squares here. I'm going to cut these 3 out and just leave that one on each side. Okay, so cut up here and across here, and then cut out this one. And again, do it however you choose. You might want to do it like cutting out those 2 and then cutting out that one. As long as you're left with that one there, that's all that matters. And now I'm going to notch these in, because I want it to look nice and neat. So I'm just going to notch these flaps in. And the bottom one as well. Okay. And then now what will happen is that's going to go around and this is going to fold up. So this little flap here, you need to just loosen it from the side there. I'm going to just notch that in just so that there's not a lot of it to create bulk. So you're just loosening up that flap there. And like I said, just making sure there's not a lot of it to create bulk. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold all this in. These edges will attach to your box, okay? So your little tabs here and here just need some glue on to glue onto the inside. But before I do that, I'm just going to pop on the DSP for this piece. I want that to stay. And like I said, I mean, it could have probably done with being a little bit deeper, but I've just gone with scraps that I had available. I didn't want to break into whole new sheets. I'm trying to use up some scraps and stuff. So tabs, a little bit of glue on the tabs. And don't worry that it doesn't seem to be very well glued together, because it's going to be stuck down, so it really doesn't matter. So pull your sides up and just hold that little tab in for 5. And for 5. Make sure it's nice and straight, because you do want it to be square. And then they will just glue onto the back of your box. You can, if you want, you can glue on a little bit on here, but I'm not going to bother, because I want to get it nice and lined up on my box, and that'll just hold your bone folders. Now, is that my old glue or my new glue? I thought that was a new glue. I was going to say, what a mess I've made of that. Right, so now for your box then, we're going to burnish those score lines. Your box is just going to come up like that. Your holder. And like that. And so we're going to just have this. And so I'm just going to cut up these score lines at the end. And I'm going to notch in just the middle one. Okay. So I'll cut up these score lines at the end. And notch in just that middle one. Now before I glue it together, I'm going to pop my back panel on. So whichever you decide is going to be the back, I'll decide this is going to be my back. I never thought I'd be happy to see grey, drizzly, rainy weather. My friends move here from the USA today. They're coming to live here for 4 or 5 years. And they're going to arrive to some typical British weather. That's what they had when they were here. Recceing for their move. Right, and now on the front of the box, you're going to have your bone folder holder, wherever you're going to have it, on one side or the other. So whichever side you decide to have it on, pop your DSP on the other side and try and line it up with where that's going to be. I'm not going to attach that just yet. I'm not going to attach the box just yet, but I am going to attach the DSP, so it needs to be sort of there. Technical measuring and everything that goes on here is ridiculous, isn't it? So that's going to be like so, and then that will be there Okay. So, and then we'll put the end panels on when we're ready. So now obviously the front of your box always wants to look the nicest. That's the last place that you fold over. So I'm going to bring in my back and sandwich my middles. No, I'm not on this occasion, sorry. I'm going to bring in my back over my middles because I never made them the same size. And then I'm going to just sandwich that in there. Then you've just got those 3 layers of sort of reinforcement there then. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue these tabs. So I'm going to glue them on the outside. My son and his girlfriend are just getting up for work, and that's the puppy, that's the welcome committee outside the bathroom. And then glue on the inside of the front tabs. And lift those up and keep it nice and square. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just press everything down without making it slide around and lose its shape. Okay. So next I am going to attach my box, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to press down from the inside once the top's fastened on. So I'm just going to glue that up a bit. And I'm just going to fasten that on. It should line up with the edges and the bottom and the top pretty well. Okay. What you can always do is put something inside there so you can watch anything inside there that's nice and firm. Just, you don't, I mean with Tombow you don't really need to, because it's a liquid adhesive, so it forms its own bonds. So then I'm going to just pop these side panels on. I think I've kept the right pieces for the sides. Again, it might not be a precise art because I'm using scraps, but it's pretty and that's all that matters, isn't it? They are slightly narrower than the other pieces, so I'm just going to sort of drop them down a little bit. Okay, press them down. Oops, press that down. Okay, bone folder. I thought it was going to fall out the side then, but it's not going to fall out the side because the box has gone right the way around. Now this is going to glue into here. Okay. Right. plenty. So put plenty of glue on all 4 tabs. And then pop all 4 down. It should fit in perfectly. Again, this is why you notch in slightly, because it just gives you that little bit of playroom. It is a little bit tricky just to get all 4 in together, but you can do it. It does happen. Try and keep your top flush. There you go. And once you've got them all in nicely and your top's nice and flush, then just take your bone folder and just poke it in. And rather than scrub it about like we usually do, just press down in there just to make sure those connections have been made. Okay. And there you are. That's your finished article. I probably wouldn't put stuff in it this soon normally because they are suspended. They're not touching the bottom, I don't think. No, they are suspended. So you don't want it to pull your what's it down. And then you can pop your bone folders in there. You can get a couple in there. Yeah, and that's it. There's your Tombow holder. So there we are. And if you wanted to make it the same as this one, you can always pop on a little button just to sort of make them coordinate. Use a glue dot and stick a little button on, even though the button's doing nothing, it's just there for decor. Stick your bone folders in. And away you go. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed those projects. And I do also have, like I say, I have a holder for my other embellishments, so the sheets of embellishments. So I might make that. The only thing is, the one I've got is in this. The one I've got is in this design. And I don't know if I've got any more of this paper, so I might just have to make it something similar. Okay, so thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye bye.